So, my experimental photography stint? It got a new spin today. Decided to focus on city architecture and search for symmetrical structures. And let me tell you, it's like a hidden gem. Once you start looking, you just can't stop. There's an untold rhythm in the way these buildings align, turning the cityscape into a grid-patterned canvas. Spent the entire day capturing snapshots. Almost felt like sculpting a virtual skyline, one building at a time. Alex was with me through the journey, teaching me to unravel the symmetrical magic of urban life. His guidance felt like a cheat code for this architectural quest, And if I say the photos look tremendous, that would be a flippin' understake. Menaki, you remember Eric and Nina, right? Had a chat with them, and they're totally stoked to see the snapshots. Yes, Nina. She's thinking of trying out digital art. How cool is that? I offered her some lessons, so we might have another member in our artsy squad soon. Can you imagine us, the terrific trio meshing codes, digital art, and gaming into one neurotic creative explosion? Speaking of which, gotta drag Eric into the gaming realm too. Might give him a little stress relief from all that coding and TurboTech. He considers it as his impending downfall, can't stop laughing at his gaming phobia. And guess what? The mission's to start with Tetris of all things. Isn't it hilarious how we're plotting a Tetris trial for someone who codes for a living? But hey, gaming is an art, like a happy little accident waiting to happen. Speaking of happy accidents, remember the curious little cat we saw near the Taiwanese cafe last week? Ran into him tonight near the park. It's like crossing paths with a tiny urban explorer as I wrapped up my symmetrical city journey. How unusual, huh? We're all explorers in our unique ways, wandering through this mesh of codes, colors, and cityscapes. Anyway, love these little intersections of life, don't you? They add an unexpected flavor to our ordinary days. And looks like that's my cue. Got a half-finished cityscape VR model waiting. That was someday, huh? Met this eccentric chef, Sophie, at the art exhibit, who also has quite a thing for VR. Could you imagine? VR gastronomy? It was sprinkled with all these vibrant colors from Senegalese culture, music, art, and dance. It was like stepping into a different world, away from the concrete city. It made me realize how much I've been stuck in my comfort zone with my urban-inspired VR designs. Now I'm thinking, why not bring this rich cultural diversity into my VR environments? I could create something that's not just visually immersive, but also encapsulates the diversity and spirit of different cultures. Anyway, had a hilarious chat session with Eric and Nina afterwards. The idea of creating a VR fish and chips experience for Nina had us laughing so hard. Wouldn't that be something? Giving people a taste of London's favorite street food in VR space, minus the actual taste, of course. And can we discuss about Beetle Woman? These random superhero ideas that pop up in our chats, I swear, could actually make a fun animated series, right? Tech geeks by day, bug-themed superheroes by night. Might sketch up some designs for fun. You know how I can't resist a good art project. Nina was asking about my artistic adventures of the day. And you know how I felt after exploring that art exhibition? I told them it was definitely a creatively charged experience. They seemed quite thrilled to hear about how it inspired me for my future VR designs. Perhaps next time I'll invite them along, so they can experience the cultural galore in its full glory. But enough about me, what's your update? Did you finally manage to convince your cat not to scratch your new couch anymore? And you remember you promised to give me that secret recipe of your grandmother's pasta? I've been craving it since the last cook-off at your place. Remember, the one where Nina accidentally turned the onion rings into charcoal rings? Oh, my precious work is calling me now. Got a VR model that needs sculpting. Can't wait to incorporate those Senegalese art ideas into it. Catch you later. So continuing from yesterday's artistically charged Senegalese culture and art exhibit experience, I decided to take a thrilling diversion today from my usual, you are not gonna believe what I got. A prototype VR gadget for a futuristic racing game, hand-delivered. Let me tell you, If I didn't know any better, I'd say I was literally driving a supercar on Mars or something since it, to be honest, felt like my actual race car days. The adrenaline rush and everything, but minus the risk and plus some amazing graphics. It's incredible how tech has evolved this far, creating such astounding and surreal experiences. And the best part, no traffic, no speed limits, no parking trouble, totally green. But can you imagine what's next? Remember our chat earlier today? VR meetings face-to-face, but in VR. Can you imagine the level of convenience and efficiency we'd achieve with that? And if that weren't enough, we could always have those VR-based culinary experiences for a change. $1 million idea right there? Should probably patent it before someone fishes it out of my head, you know what I mean? And there won't be any more of Eric's worrying about running out of coffee during meetings. Maybe we can have virtual coffee too. I bet Nina would love the idea, especially if we're able to simulate those fish and chips she's always talking about. And did you know? I found this strangely bizarre yet kind of cool trend on the internet today. People are apparently going nuts with Mad Max. Jingle Road-style apocalyptic Christmas decorations. Golden and silver are so passé, and people are all about that rustic dark steel vibe this year with tiny red and green lights, pine, and little ornaments to balance it. It's like the holidays just had a major rebellious phase. I think it mirrors perfectly the whole Armageddon vibe that the whole world is feeling. I mean, why keep it all traditional and boring when you can have a wild dystopian Christmas, right? Maybe, just maybe, I could introduce a slice of this in my VR designs too. You know, Christmas on Mars kind of a setting. Speaking of VR, TurboTech seriously needs to look into these. Imagine immersing in an unforeseen tech glitch in VR, fixing it while having fun in a game-like environment. Eric's life would be a cakewalk then. By the way, have you heard the latest Adele album? Eric and Nina were raving about it in our chat today. I've been stuck on Set Fire to the Rain and haven't moved ahead yet, but it might be time to update my playlists a bit. Wonder if she incorporated any interstellar travel in her songs like Eric's hoping TurboTech will one day. Thinking of it makes me realize how far we've come, from apocalyptic Christmas trees to interstellar travel, and yet, here we are, still revolving around the same old poor Earth. Those little advancements bring about such larger-than-life alterations. Anyway, guess it's time to update my VR cosmos now. It's been a while.